You are listening to The Objective Jerk, where objectiveness is the objective, and I am said jerk. Another reboot. The infamous Roadhouse has been rebooted. Did you watch it? I started to. Anyway, this is The Objective Jerk, and I'm said jerk. How you doing? Hope everybody's doing well. I've been a little under the weather still, and just not really in the mood to talk about anything. And then I just kind of I made a comment about the Roadhouse movie, and then been having like a little dialogue back and forth with a guy. And so I don't know. I just thought I'd talk about it. Nothing like nobody fighting. Although he just made another comment, so I'll read it here in a second. But anyway, so when I was younger, I remember watching movies, specifically like with Arnold, watching Commando or something, and with my grandfather, and something would happen, and he'd be like, "Yeah, right, okay," you know what I mean? He would just like kind of pick it apart a little bit. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? What's so, yeah, right. It's awesome, And as I got older, things like I would start to kind of notice more like the Predator, right? Predator, awesome action movie. Yes, there's some over the top, but I mean, it's a sci-fi movie, so you can kind of get away with it. So that's kind of the thing is like, if you're doing a realistic kind of movie, it needs to be realistic, I guess. But anyway, like in Predator, I remember when Jesse Ventura's dead and they're all shooting into the jungle, and it's like, why are you guys just shooting rounds off like crazy? Like as a kid, I didn't really, it was whatever. But it's like, dude, you only have so much ammo and you're just shooting at, you can't see nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like, it seemed kind of stupid. And it is, if you think about it, it's like, but, one guy was like shooting. He saw something, so they were all shooting. So it kind of does make a little sense. Their friend's dead, a guy's shooting. They go there, they're offering support, indirect fire, shooting, whatever. But I think it just maybe goes on for a little too long, is where it doesn't make sense. But anyway, my point is, as you get older and as you experience life, and then you watch certain films, you see things and you're just like, what? Why would somebody do that? It's just like in horror movies. When they make stupid decisions, you're like, why would you do that? Why? But it's kind of part of the movie, right? So you accept it, I guess. But I don't know, in today's culture, climate, everybody fighting. Nobody, like, if somebody doesn't like what you like, then they're evil, and you have to fight about it and argue why what you like is better than, or I don't know what it is, you know what I mean? But, so the Roadhouse movie, I grew up, well, not grew up, I guess, I was a little older by the time it came out. Not older, but, let's see, when did that come out? I have to look that up. Maybe I'll pull that up real quick, hold on. Let's see. Oh, 1989. So I was like 11 when it came out. And I remember it was my favorite movie because I thought the blonde chick that did the little strip tease was hot, and it showed her boobs, and I was like, ooh, So that's how I started, watching it. And then as I got older, I watched it, and then I didn't watch it for the longest time. And then as an adult, I bought it. And then it's like, you know what? This is still a pretty good movie. It's obviously dated. The mullets, which mullets are back now for some stupid reason, but it was entertaining. And is it like the most realistic movie? No, it's a film. So all film, you can't I guess bash a film because it's not completely realistic, but there are just some things that you just can't let go, like. So in the new Roadhouse, the character Dalton, like in his first little scrap. So he inadvertently kills somebody in the octagon, which sends him into, he's up, upset about that, drinking, whatever, this and that. And then he gets the job as the bouncer, and then in his first little fight, he's just like slapping them because he doesn't want to hurt them necessarily. And then he takes them to the ER. He drives them to the ER. And it was at that point where I was like, what? This is stupid. And I stopped watching it because I was just like, you know what? If I'm getting kind of annoyed or disappointed now, I'm probably going to just be disappointed altogether. And the thing is I was looking forward to the movie. I remember when they were talking about it with Ronda Rousey, I was like, yeah, I don't know, but maybe it'd be good. I was willing to give it a shot. So when that didn't happen, I was fine with it. And then when I heard that Jake Gyllenhaal or I don't know how to say his name, but he's a good actor, And so when I heard that he was cast, I was like, okay, cool. And then even with Conor McGregor, I was like, oh, this might be pretty cool. He's a bad guy. And maybe after a while, I'll give it another shot. But it's like usually if I watch a movie just with really low expectations, then it doesn't suck as much for me. So I kind of went into it not with like high expectations, but I was excited. And then when that was just like, oh, come on, man. So the point is, him driving the people that he just got into a fight where they're like were purposely trying to put him in the hospital or kill him, and then he's driving them to the hospital in his car and they're in the back seat, is ridiculous. And I'll explain why. So anybody who's experienced life, especially somebody that's been a bouncer, any kind of security kind of job, law enforcement, military, been in combat or been in the mafia even, knows you don't let somebody who's a possible threat sit behind you in a car. You don't. That's just stupid. You know what I mean? And so I made a remark about that. Here, I'm going to read some of the stuff. Let me see what this guy says, though. But so it talks about, the critics are wrong. There was a post in Facebook, or whatever. It says the critics are wrong about the Roadhouse remake. And then I was like, the fact that Dalton drives the guys he effed up at the beginning to the ER was dumb. And so I was turned off and I turned it off. Some people don't understand that it's about a good story. The part of what makes a good story is situations that make sense. Like I said, not all movies have, situations that make sense, but people are getting smarter and smarter as time goes on. And they have to take that into an account when they're writing these things, Just because you write something that sounds cool on paper or whatever doesn't mean it actually works. Wouldn't it be kind of cool and funny if he drove him to the ER, showing that he's compassionate and, he just, the guy just got beat up. Like, I get it, but it's like they should have had somebody else look at it and be like, yeah, that's kind of dumb. You need to change this or do whatever. And that's a problem, I think, with a lot of writers today is they're not getting stuff looked at from an outside perspective. Or if they do, they're not listening to it. So that's what I said. And this guy comes back, he's like, well, perhaps after what he did to the guy in the octagon, he wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. That would make sense for the storyline. And he's right. And that's why I said, I was like, agreed. Helping them did go along with his character arc, but the execution was dumb. He could have paid for an Uber to take them, paid for their ER visit or whatever, but driving with potential threats sitting behind you is stupid, which means the writers are stupid, is what I said. And then he's like, it's also how he met the doctor. If he didn't take them to the hospital, that wouldn't have happened. Again, I was like, I get it. But he could have ensured they had a ride in the Uber and then go to the ER separately to pay for their, whatever, to show how nice he is and stuff. And then he could have met the doctor. There's other ways to make the story happen that make better sense than what they decided on. You know what I mean? That was old, though. It said I had a new Notification. Maybe that, I don't know. Something happened. Anyway, but so, that's the thing. It's like, and I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older, I guess. Maybe if I was 20 years younger, it wouldn't have bothered me. I know if I had an experience, because I was in the army, I was in the military police. I mean, that's day one thing they teach you when you go through law enforcement school and stuff, and it's just like I said, if there's a potential threat behind you, you don't let it sit there. You don't let it, you know what I mean? You don't. It doesn't matter how badass you are. You're not going to let somebody sit behind. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense for, especially Dalton being as smart as he is, supposed to be. I think it would have worked much better if he paid for an Uber or had one other person drive them or something and then followed behind them separately. Hey, I want to make sure I want to pay for these guys' ER visits, and then meet the doctor that way. But it's like it seemed like they thought of the idea of him giving them a ride, and they just thought it was so great and funny and this and that, which it kind of is. But like I said, it doesn't make sense for somebody in his line of work. You know what I mean? So it's just stuff like that really kind of it turns off people to some of the movies now, And then the thing is too is if you're doing a remake of a movie that's loved, you gotta do it, but do it better. Like, what were the flaws of the original? Don't make it worse. You want to make it better. So it's like things that in the original, which didn't work, like the mullets or whatever. You could change that up. I remember in the original one, like I always thought it was stupid that Dalton pulled the knife out of Wade Garrett, when he was dead. He pulled the knife out and then brought it with him to go fight whatever. It's like, dude, that was what killed him. Now his prints are on there. You know what I mean? But it's like, it was about sending a message when he goes to the bad guy. So, but it always still kind of bugged me. But I was younger. Well, when I was very young, I didn't even realize it. But once I got older, it was like, that's kind of stupid. But whatever, I let it slide. But now it's just, I don't know. And part of it is that it's just so much of it, there's so many people in Hollywood or whatever that write this stuff that just really, I mean, I'm assuming too that, the writers, hey, spit out some AI scripts for the Roadhouse, and they put in the information. Oh, this one sounds pretty good, and they just kind of edit it. I think that's basically the way things are going, and will continue to go. But it's like you can only take so much bad writing, when there's like a bunch of holes in scripts, and oh, these people meet up, but there's no real good reason for it. They have to meet up, but they just make up some stupid reason, like, oh, just cosmically, they just happen to be in the same place at the same time. It's like, well, that works to an extent, but, like I said, audiences are getting smarter because we've had years and years of film and stories that, except for young people, that's why young people enjoy whatever and they take whatever. But the thing that's different between now and then, it's like I said, my grandpa used to, whatever, that's stupid. And maybe I'd ask him why, and he'd be like, well, and he'd explain it, and okay. Like, people used to, film buffs used to debate films, whether it was good, what was good about it, what was bad, whatever. And then it was fine. But now it's like people, if you like a film and other people don't like it, then you have to hate them, or they're racist, or they're whatever. It's like, dude, people aren't going to like everything. You know what I mean? And generally, and the funny thing is like most people that even go to the movies now are people like me or in the 30s. because that's, because kids now, like my kids don't care about movies at all, one way or the other. They don't care about movies. Maybe someday, but the main audience is 25 to 40, whatever. We're still kind of, but when these movies are written like crap and make no sense, then we're tapping out. I used to watch almost anything and everything. Now I am very, very, you know, picky, especially with new movies. I'd rather just watch an older movie that I know is good or I know that I like. Um, excuse me. So it's like when a movie like the Roadhouse remake, I was looking forward to it. Plus, it was directed by what's his nuts, who he's done some awesome movies. Some of my favorite films. What's his name again? Doug Liman. Doug Liman. Lehman. I don't know. So I was like, dude, this is probably gonna be pretty good. See, but now it's like now you got to look at and see who wrote it. So it's like you got good actors, good director, but then who wrote it? Let's see. Let's look that up real quick. Let's see who wrote this film. Story by some people you can't click on. So story is different than screenplay. So who wrote the screenplay? Let me see. Blah blah blah. Doug Liman. Okay, a search for a new writer began to revise a previous draft by this guy and this guy, Chuck whatever. Sheldon Turner had turned in a rewrite of the script. Ultimately, Bogrosi and Mondry received final screenplay credit, with the story given to the duo in the original. So this Sheldon Turner guy. So The Longest Yard remake. So he writes a lot of remakes. He can't come up with original ideas apparently. Texas Chainsaw Massacre beginning. Yeah, Up in the Air. What was that one? I don't think I saw that one. X-Men First Class is pretty good, really. Let's see. I mean, so that's not... Let me look at this guy. You can only click on some of them. Looks like... Best. Oh, so this is basically the first... So it's like his first thing, the Roadhouse, whatever. But it's like... I don't know. It just sucks because... like I watched the Damsel movie with my wife last weekend or whatever, whenever it came out. And immediately starting to watch it, it's like you see the, whatever they call it, the DEI and just trying to incorporate, different representation and all this crap. And you see it and you're just like, oh, okay, whatever. And I kept watching. And then it's okay. The movie's for kids and more specifically girls. The movie's all right. I wouldn't watch it again. I wouldn't buy it. Why was I talking about that? But yeah, and I wasn't expecting much of that movie, but so I was kind of excited about this Roadhouse, and I was kind of expecting it to be a pretty good movie. And I heard some not so great things, but whatever. I'll watch it. I don't listen to critics. I listen to other fans, that will watch it and, but yeah, I don't know. That happened and I'm just like, I don't know. I was like, do I want to keep watching this? Maybe I just wasn't in the mood, but I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably watch it one day, but that's the thing is like other individuals just don't understand that certain people need to have a well-written story, which is far and few between. And then the fact is like, dude, if you enjoyed the movie, especially somebody that's never seen the original one, I'm sure that they think it's awesome, and that's great. And that's fine. It's not, just because I think something happened is stupid that didn't bother you doesn't make you stupid. I think it makes the writer stupid. or lazy. I just think they should have took it to somebody, other people that have life experience and been like, hey, does this make sense? And they could look at it and be like, oh, that's pretty funny, but yeah, that wouldn't happen. Nobody would do that. Nobody in that kind of anything would drive. Like, I get it, you know what I mean? They're trying to be like, he's a nice guy, he beat the crap out of him. Now he's taking him to the hospital, and he's so badass that he could do that without worrying, and then that's how he meets the doctor. Like, I get where they kind of, the idea of it, but then they should have had somebody like, yeah, but no, nobody would do that. They would not do that. Oh, but even if he's badass, it's like, what, does he have eyes behind his head? He's got the force. He'll just block somebody that tries to strangle him or put a knife to his throat and make him pull over. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just, you wouldn't put yourself in that situation. You just wouldn't. And so they should have figured out another way. He should have ensured that somebody gave him a ride or an Uber or something, and then he followed behind to pay for their ER visits. That way he didn't put himself in a situation, and he's still, being nice to these guys even though they were attacking him or whatever. And then he meets the doctor. There's multiple ways to make a story happen that makes sense other than your first knee jerk, oh, let's do this, that'd be so funny. You know what I mean? I know there's, I've written stuff for like, what do you call it? Creative writing class. And I know there's, people writing stuff will like come up with something like, oh man, I love this part. And then when they have editors or someone else look at it, they're like, dude, this ain't going to work because of this. And they're like, they're heartbroken because, man, they love that so much. But they're like, okay, you know what? You're right. That doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. So I got to take it out. Sucks. But, and it's like they don't do that anymore. They just write whatever and because it made them feel good about the idea they come up with, like they think they're so clever. I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway, that's it. I was sitting there, I don't know, just getting dressed, and this guy commented on it, and so we are kind of going back and forth a little bit. Like I said, it wasn't I read you the comment, so it wasn't anything, we weren't like attacking each other or anything like that. But it's just kind of funny. But see, that's how it should be. I mean, I don't know if this guy was angry or pissed off. He didn't say anything. But we debated, and then that's it. But the thing that he should have been like, after my last comment, he should have been like, well, I guess maybe he's kind of right. And then just be like, hey, I get what you're saying. I still like the movie, and that's it. But then he doesn't say nothing because he feels like he lost the debate, I guess. But it's not really, like, why can't we have debates? Why can't we have dialogues and talk and disagree but still get along? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't happen anymore. Anyway, that's it. Appreciate you listening. And that's about it. I'll see you next time. All right, thanks. Hey, do me a favor, and however you're either listening or watching this, please give it a like or subscribe or follow or whatever. And then, do me another favor and give me a little comment. Let me know what you think. Or, just a thumbs up, I guess. Whatever. It all helps. I appreciate it. And have a good one.